Looks like you've been added to the close friends list. Welcome to the new and improved Close Friends List podcast, your weekly dose of laughs, gossip, and really whatever pops into our mind. As you know, the close friends list is always changing and always evolving, so make sure you stay a part of ours. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts and on social media at Close Friends List Pod. We're so excited to have you as a close friend. Now, on to the episode. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Close Friends List podcast. This is Erin and Katie. Adia cannot be with us today, but she's off being a
Living her
working
best
gal,
life at work.
honestly.
Architecture
So
life, what can you say?
literally, but we decided to film an episode because we have a lot of things to get off our chest, and it's been pent up. Like the last few weeks have been crazy. Well, the last few months.
Yeah.
Let's not
Yeah.
get into it.
I mean, we've
You've
been
seen us
crashing
this
out since
weekend. Yeah.
November, but
Yeah. You've seen it. We know you've seen it. So we just have a few things to complain about. By a few, I mean we each have a list of like 7 or 8 things that we want to
yeah.
bring to the table. So this episode might be an hour. This episode might be 4. Like I don't know. It could
Yeah.
be whatever it is. But without further ado, here are the things we want to get off our chest.
Yeah.
And so we have a few that like link up. We haven't seen each other's lists.
Yeah.
And
I just
I love
know
that
there's a couple
because
that are going to be
we
vibing.
just yeah.
Yeah.
Like first, let's talk about the one that's like on social media like the most right now. I would say it was either like Blake versus Justin or the Matt and Rachel like situation. Both of those things are on my list.
I knew they were. And
Yeah.
let's start with Justin and Blake because
Okay. Yeah.
the thing on my list about them, we'll get there later. Let's start. What do you have to complain about with
Okay.
Justin and Blake?
Well, first of all, I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing
Already.
it.
It just started.
It just started, but it also has been going on for like
Well,
months, I feel
well,
like.
and because like there's been whispers since when production finished, like the
Yeah.
movie hadn't even come out yet and rumors were
Yeah.
swirling, and that was back in
Yeah.
fucking July, June, and
Exactly.
so like you're right, we are kind of coming up on not a
Yeah.
year,
It's
but
giving
9 months
like
probably.
it's giving the Wicked promo, but like not in a fun way. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just like the movie wasn't good. Well, I didn't see the movie. Heard the movie wasn't good. The book is
Yeah.
not good. The one good thing this has brought about is Colleen Hoover is like basically off like writing now. She's
Yeah.
like, I've retired. And I'm like, okay, great. Like
Yeah.
it's about time.
Yeah.
What was I complaining about? I feel like just in general, I wanted to complain about it because it's like, yes, there are two sides to every story, but it's like, how far can we go with some things? Like,
Yeah.
I don't,
Well, and it's just I mean, I'm living for like I love getting the new evidence and stuff, which is like not a
yes.
great thing to say. Like as a pop culture, like it's not great, but like as a
Yeah.
pop culture girl, it's like we're eating. But
Yeah.
it's getting worse and worse. It's like
Yeah.
we're getting texts about her being Khaleesi, we're getting voice notes from 2 a.m. It's like I didn't like this is
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's like, I would love to hear like a snippet of the 2 a.m. voice memo,
Yes.
but like we don't need the entire 6 minutes
Exactly.
released.
Exactly.
And it being like, even when I was listening to it on 2x speed, like this was too long. It was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
why are you sending this at 2 a.m.? But also like maybe he was up working and was like, okay, like now I need like on to my next task,
and that's what
sending this. So I'm just like, I don't know.
Well, everybody's saying, because I haven't gone back to look at the timestamps, but her original text was at 150. So this was like a direct response. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
in my head, though, like as a director, like at what point do you just say, like, this is a tomorrow? Like, I know she's like, but it's already so late. Like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
the other thing I think about this whole thing is, like we said in our group chat, this is never really probably going to see the light of day in court. Like in theory, they'll settle outside probably. I mean,
For
there
sure.
is always the chance that it goes. There is, but because they both really have something to prove. But we're not even at that stage yet, because if this was truly evidence for the case, that would be a different situation too. That would be okay, we're getting new information. This is all still just PR related. This is all still to make themselves look good. And so it's like we're getting these 10-minute clips and 6-minute voice memos. just because. Just
Yeah,
because. Like,
just
it's not
because.
even discovery
Yeah,
yet. We're not even, like, in the
exactly.
case, really.
And then Blake and her team being like, you know, the gag order, like, he shouldn't be releasing all this stuff, blah blah blah. And
Right.
I'm like, but sister, you released so much, like your whole lawsuit, like to like against him,
Yeah.
and you put that all over everywhere. The New York Times like
Mhm.
wrote a thing about it, and you're saying he can't release the evidence to like back it up. He's just supposed to be like quiet and just be like, just take it and be like, okay, well, we'll release this in court, we'll see how it goes. And the other gag is that the court date is set for 2026.
Yeah.
So like, what is the actual like, what is happening, please? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just tired of it.
It's never gonna end, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it will one day, and it'll be over
Yeah,
for both of them. Like, that's just the nature of what this is, I think. But
exactly.
my complaining in the same vein as this
Mm-hmm.
is the Candace Owens of it all.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring it up. I knew you were
Yeah.
gonna bring it
So
up.
I am living for her. First of all, I know that's a very controversial thing to say right now, and
Out
I'm
of
gonna get into
everything
it.
we've said on this pod, you being like, actually, like, I'm living for Candace Owens is crazy, but
So
I'll let you explain yourself to the
the
listeners.
problem is, yeah, the problem is I actually started vibing with her before she started even covering Justin.
Yeah.
Like, that's the guy.
That
like
was crazy.
like 2-ish weeks before she started even covering this whole
Yeah.
story, I'm like, wait, I'm kind of agreeing with her on some things.
Yeah.
The thing is, and this is where it's going to be different for me than for other people, because I am going to be using my critical thinking. I know she's
Of
just using
course.
this to pull people in. And once they're listening to
Yes.
her, she's going to indoctrinate them. And it's like, I
Absolutely.
can be an adult with my own thoughts and
You're
critical thinking
self-aware and you can see
and
it. Yeah.
recognize, like, my sister sent that TikTok this morning of
Yeah.
her talking about Blake and Taylor are no longer friends. And it's like, I
Hmm.
clocked the Christ is King. Sure, I
Yeah.
did.
Christ
You know
is
what I
king
mean?
with the like,
Like,
oh, yeah, we saw it. I was like,
I'm,
the alt-right like
I'm aware.
propaganda is
Yeah.
there. Like,
It's
but
there. It's there. And I'm
yeah.
overlooking it, and I'm using critical thinking to not become indoctrinated, but like I can still vibe with some of the things that she is getting
Yeah.
on with. And it's not even just about them. She was talking about the inauguration. She's like,
Yeah.
and I'm like co-signing a little bit. The TikTok ban,
Exactly.
I'm like co-signing what she has to say,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So, we'll see how this evolves over time, but I the nuggets of the alt right is crazy. Like,
It's
when you,
crazy.
because now she's starting to do it a little bit more because more people have picked up. Like, I mean, people are living for
Yeah.
her updates on Blake and
Mhm.
Justin. And so
Mhm.
that shirt a week ago, she would have never posted that because she was still
Mm-mm.
getting people. She was still, fishing. And now
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've got them hooked. They're watching. And she
Yeah.
threw in the little like Me Too situation. I'm like, don't know what to make of that because she didn't really give much detail. Like, she just
Yeah.
like dropped it in and then
She's
like
just like,
kept it
here.
moving. Yeah,
Exactly.
but we'll see where things pan out for her. Well,
Yeah.
for me and her.
We'll see. For you.
I
I just
definitely,
was like
this is a pretty big
cackling.
like outcome. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just cackling when you were like, what did you say? Oh, you texted me and you were like, when the worst person you know like has some
Makes a
points.
good
And I was
point.
like, yeah. I was like, this is
Yeah.
really it. Because like we
Yeah.
don't like Candace Owens, but like some things she's saying right now in
Yeah.
regards to the current administration and like
Hmm.
this, we're like, okay, wait, but then
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to like I really have to think back and be like, she is a white supremacist as a black
Yeah.
woman, you know, like
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah. I mean, it's all about reading between the lines. You don't have to be a blind
yeah.
follower to somebody.
Yeah, yeah,
They could
yeah.
have a good point and
For,
you could still not like
for
them.
sure.
So,
Yeah,
or
for
like
sure.
you could still differentiate between what they have going on,
Exactly.
I guess. So, that's going to
Exactly.
be key for the next couple
That's
months. And if anybody
yeah,
watching has fallen into her trap, beware,
please.
be
Yeah.
vigilant, and be aware. So,
Be
yeah.
mindful, please. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
That was so
I would love to
funny.
get into Rachel and Matt because I'm also over this already. Like, I feel
Yeah,
bad
well,
saying that. It's
I've
new. It's brand
it's
new.
new. Like the thing dropped like while we're recording this, like a day or two ago, like their
Yeah.
breakup. Well, the breakup post happened, I think, like a
It was like a
week ago. And
weekish.
then
Yeah.
like she was immediately on Call Her Daddy, which is crazy, but we move on.
Yeah.
So I've been like, I used to watch The Bachelor Bachelor, like, religiously, and so, like, I remember when Matt James was just, like, a person in the background, and he was, like, friends with Tyler Cameron, and, like, everyone was like, "Oh my god, it would be so cool if he, like, went on The Bachelorette and then was, like, on The Bachelor because, like, Tyler was so great and he and his BFF Matt are so great together, like, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, um, so I've been watching, following him, like, pretty closely, not as much, like,
Well,
after they,
because
like, got
he
together,
was
but
never on the show, was he? He was just in
he was
his
never
Tyler's, like, TikToks during COVID,
yeah,
I think.
Tyler's, like he was in Tyler's crew, and then,
Yeah.
like, the Bachelor producers were like, "We want you to be our first
Mhm.
Black Bachelor," which we love, like, Bachelor's so white, like, that's what we want more diversity. But new tea has come out from Claire Crawley, who was the Bachelorette before, Matt was the Bachelor, and she
Yes.
said that remember how she was like, "Oh, I don't want this person on my season because, like, they're not ready for a relationship, and I know that for a fact, like, blah, 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 like, I don't want them, I don't want them." And she was saying this all before her season aired. We come to find out it was Matt James. So,
Yeah.
like, knowing this and then knowing all of the things that, like,
Well,
happened from him
yeah.
being the bachelor to start to, like, now, I'm not surprised that he was not, like,
You
ready
know,
to drop to a knee and propose to this girl.
yeah, I didn't realize that Claire was saying that, but it really adds so much to the lore of it all because
Mhm,
usually, I mean, my understanding, because I only watched a few seasons like post college when it was
mhm,
really like Colton's season was one I watched because they were hyping
mhm.
that jump
Yeah,
bench jump
yeah,
up.
yeah.
You know the vibes.
I was there.
But yeah, my understanding is that pretty much all of the bachelors and bachelorettes have been from other seasons. So, like, somebody really
Mhm.
gets like I know Hannah, she was on Colton's season and then she became the
Yeah, it's
bachelorette. Like, that's
literally
the kind of vibe. So,
that's
like
how because you do, like, the fan favorite or, like, the person who gets
right.
to the top 2 and the
Right.
like and those
Yeah,
people
because you feel
usually
bad
turn
for
out to be
them.
a fan
Yeah,
favorite, and so they're
yeah,
like, they were so close to getting love, let's give them
right.
their own, like,
So
journey to get love. So it was
exactly. So it's
crazy
interesting that
when
Matt was not even in the universe because that indicates that
exactly.
he maybe wasn't looking for something. Like he was not like because when you
Exactly,
go
and
on
his
these
friend
shows,
was in it.
generally, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because the expectation when you go on the show, and I know other people have said that maybe they weren't there for the right reasons, like looking back or whatever, but
Mhm.
generally you go on the show to find somebody. So the fact that he was kind of brought in separately
Mhm.
adds to what she's saying about like he wasn't interested at the time. So now here we
Exactly.
are 6
Exactly,
years
like, he was supposed to
later.
be on it, but
Yeah.
then not. But then it's also it's like, when you look back at his season, and, like, they didn't get engaged at the end of the thing, and the main driving point of The Bachelor and Bachelorette is, like, that you get engaged at the end of this, like, 8 or
Yeah.
9 weeks that you're together, and that's that. If you break up after, okay, but, like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a mess,
Yeah.
but it's like,
Yeah.
that's the point of the show, like, you get there to get engaged, and so for him to take Rachel, like, all the way to the end and then be like, "I'm not ready to get engaged, but I wanna date you," is kind of a red flag as well, that it's like,
Yeah. Yeah,
he
because you
was
signed on
just
knowing what this was about, generally. Again,
exactly,
I mean, you were brought into
exactly,
this world, but I'm sure the contract said certain things or
exactly,
and his
like
friend was
and
on it, so he knows the
again, yeah, yeah,
vibes. I
yeah, you
mean,
see
yeah.
all of this, you see your friends, like, season, you see the girl at the end get engaged, like, all this, so
Mhm.
you know what's happening, and The Bachelor, like, even if you don't watch The Bachelor, you know, like, at the end of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, people get engaged, like, it's
Exactly.
so
Well,
it was
even if
crazy
you
for him to
don't
just
I guess it's like be true to yourself, but also like no harm, no foul. You could break up still. Like it's not like Love is Blind
mhm,
where you get legally married. Like it's
yeah,
like it is a different
exactly,
situation. Like I
exactly,
mean, again, like be true to yourself, I guess, but it's definitely
mhm,
like a yeah, like you said, a red
yeah.
flag, if nothing else. Yeah.
For sure. So there were already, like, Matt's red flags, and, like, you could see the, like, red flags poke through the cracks, like, throughout his season, and then when people saw that, like, Rachel was kind of a fave, like, it was, like, kind of, a mess because people were like, "Okay, but they're, better girls." Moving on, his choice, whatever.
Hmm.
But then after, like, they start, dating or continue dating after the show, then it comes out that she went to, like, an antebellum party in college when she was, like,
Yeah.
20 or 21, and, again, Matt being the first Black bachelor, like, what are we talking about? And that's, like, she's like, "Oh, well, like, I was a different person." Girl, you were in your 20s and you're in your 20s now. So, like,
Well, that's the thing.
what?
It wasn't like 10 years ago or anything. Like she was like 3
Yeah.
or 4 years out max, I think. I think she was like 24 or 25 at the time. Like I don't
I literally
whatever.
can't remember because
Yeah.
she's not I don't think she's 30 yet. So, like,
Yeah.
she was either it was between the age of 18 to 20 when she went to this antebellum party, and then, like, now she's on The Bachelor at 25, like, that's not a long time,
Yeah.
and you're dressing up as, like, a slave owner's wife, you're going to this plantation
I mean, we're
with, like,
talking
all
like
these, like
mid 2010s too. Like this is not
Yeah,
I mean, again, I don't know. Not that it's like been
exactly.
okay for a long time, but just like
Yeah.
thinking about like, okay, 2017 girl, like that's not
Literally,
like
literally, and
yeah.
then to sit there with your new, like, black boyfriend and be like, "I didn't know," like, "No, you knew, sister," like, that's
I
hello,
mean,
like,
the party was on a plantation, right? It wasn't
it was
just they
exactly it's not
dressed
just,
up.
like,
It was like
dressing
they
up,
were
it's they're
in the
on a plantation
location.
with,
Yeah.
like, full, like, slave quarters in the background, like, taking
Yeah, that's
pictures, like, all these
crazy.
things, it's crazy,
Not that
and
it's good to dress
so
up, but like everything combined, it's like, girl,
it's
the signs
so
are there.
insane.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so then, like so that was, like, her red flag. And then, like, him breaking up with you after, finding that out, and then, like, still talking to you on national television about it, like,
Yeah.
a red flag. Like, hello, like,
Well,
he's
didn't he
embarrassing.
fold like pretty soon after? It was like a day or
Oh,
2
yeah, yeah,
later,
yeah.
they were like dating
So
again?
exactly. So it was
Yeah.
like we would just see, like, videos of his on, like, Instagram or, like, whatever, and then we'd see, like, a girl in the background, and we were like, "Wait, is that? Is that?" And then they finally were like, "We're back together," and you're like,
Why even
what
pretend?"
do you mean? Like, why pretend to break up when
Yeah.
just because Matt knew,
It would
like,
look bad for
that's what the
him that he
public
stayed with
would
her.
like,
Mhm.
exactly what the public wanted. So it's like, okay, so if you don't care about that, don't make a whole big thing about it on After the
Exactly.
Final Rose, like, and shame your girlfriend, like, publicly
Mhm.
shame your girlfriend if that's not what you believe. Like, what are we talking about? So then after that, they just were in a relationship for like 4 years, and none of the thing like, from the Snapchats or, like, the videos, the TikToks, like, everything I've seen, I'm just like, "He never really seemed like you guys liked each other like that."
You know,
Like
I will say he would come on my feed, and there were moments where I was like, I feel like he's not, like, really that into her because like, he talked about her and I guess at the time, you could chalk it up to, like, them wanting to be semi-private, but still public, like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, or,
sometimes,
like,
like,
silly goofy
he would
times, but yeah.
yeah, like, it felt, like, very professional,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
him
Yeah,
talking to her
for sure.
sometimes, and, like, so it felt like but again, you could chalk that up to, like and maybe he really did like her, and he really was just
Yeah,
keeping things behind closed doors or whatever, but
and that's
it definitely,
fine,
like,
but
looking back, it's like even at the time, I remember thinking when he was, like, training for his marathon, I was like, "Does he even like her?" I
literally
remember
no
there being a
and I
video that I was
don't
like,
think
"I
he
don't"
did.
yeah, right, right. I
So,
mean, at
at
this
this point,
point,
yeah,
I would
and then that
be
you sent that TikTok earlier today of, like, just clips of, like, multiple of
yeah,
his TikToks, and I was like, it was right there in
yeah.
in front of our faces, like, he
I
never
will
liked her the
say
whole time.
yeah, there's one
That's
and this is, like, going places that the listeners don't know because we're probably not gonna put it in, but, like, she's, like, dipping the french fries in and stuff, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
I mean, the way she looks so defeated in that video when he's just
Yeah.
berating her and, like,
He's like, "Why would you
come
do that?"
on.
With the phone in
Yeah,
her face, like, "Why would you do that? Why would
yeah,
you" and she's just, like,
yeah,
so over it, and it was
she
like,
is. Yeah,
"Move on." Like, she's like, "Okay, you said it once, like, move on, like, we're filming a video for,
yeah.
TikTok or whatever. Like,
I mean,
just
you can
move
see her
on."
eyes are just,
And
like,
she's just like
over.
and she even says, she's like, "Okay," and then just, like, moves on. And I was
Yeah.
like, Girl, how did you not break up with him?" But
I
then,
know. I feel like
like
she felt like because 'cause they've been together all those years and, like, she's mentioned multiple
Yeah.
times they talked about engagement, so, like and they talked about
Yeah.
kids, so I feel like she felt like, now she's in her mid to late 20s, like, she's
Mhm.
looking for those things that she was looking for when she went on The Bachelor, he's telling me that we're getting there,
Mhm.
like, I
Mhm.
I feel like you kind of maybe overlook it thinking like, "But
Mhm.
this is my life like, this is the life we're building, and so, like,
Yeah.
it's not always gonna be him yelling at me
Yeah.
over food videos or
It won't
whatever."
be, but that's his job, but
Yeah,
it won't be. But I
right,
just feel like after, because she said that I feel like at, like, 2 years in, like, she started asking, like, "Okay, where's this going? Where's this going?"
right.
And he would never give just, like, a solid answer, and I was like, "Girl, like,
Yeah.
think better for yourself, you know, like at some
It's
point we need to stand up and like
yeah, that's the
be like,
one.
okay, like this is, but like I get being in the relationship and being like, oh no, but like next year it'll
Yeah.
be it next year, you know, and like
It's definitely like a
wanting and
balance.
hoping, like,
Yeah.
but I was just like, girl, the red flags were there. And also like,
Well, I mean, they don't live together and, like,
yeah.
and then
And I'm
that is a
like,
choice, that's fine,
yeah,
but
that's fine. But
knowing, like, certain things, like, okay, if you're waiting to get engaged or married to move in together, like, don't you think
mm-hmm,
he would be bringing that up if he was really interested in doing those things?
mm-hmm,
Like you said, maybe
mm-hmm,
at the 2-year mark, maybe that's when he's like, "Oh, yeah, like, let's start looking," and then,
yeah,
you would think you'd want to take the next step to
mm-hmm,
get to that next point, but to
mm-hmm,
never, like, be interested in moving in or talking
yeah,
about anything else, it's like, all right,
yeah.
like that's not really
So
helpful. So sorry,
it's
Rachel.
just,
We feel
yeah,
bad
sorry,
for you, but
Rachel.
it's rough out here.
Exactly. I'm like,
We
Matt,
she'll
I
be on The
felt bad for
Bachelorette
you.
next
Like,
season.
honestly, I was like, I felt bad for Matt, like, back in the day when I, like, it came out that she was like openly doing these racist things. And I was like, okay, like, I feel bad. But then you got back together with her. So I literally don't feel bad for you. And then I feel bad that Rachel was like blindsided, I guess, by
I know
this.
it's tough.
But I
It
don't
like I
like,
will say it was kind of crazy for him to post that on Instagram. Like
oh, for sure.
the minute
The,
she left Tokyo, he's like post like that. That was crazy.
That was insane. And I
That
know she's
was.
probably complained about like her phone and like the VPN and like it
Hmm.
connecting on like because they've flown together. They've like traveled all over the world together. So it's like I know that like she has
He
complained about that
knew that
before. So
she
he
wasn't
knew.
gonna
So he
see
was
it.
like,
Yeah.
aha, she'll be on the plane, like
Yeah. Because
getting
it's
ready to
kind of
like
like interesting that he like obviously they decided to end their relationship, but like to not even give it like a day before like hard launching
literally.
the breakup is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are both public figures and you're just
Mm-hmm.
like, it's
It
over.
also was
It's
crazy that
over.
he used a bachelor pick because they both
Yes.
separated themselves from the bachelor like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
what's your end game here?
Yeah, yeah, that post was I remember reading it and before I sent it to you and I was just like,
Yeah,
"What happened here?" Like this post is
so
so
much.
crazy because the
Exactly.
photo, like the
Like
caption, it was
the
everything.
prayer,
I'm like, "What?"
yes.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
crazy for sure.
Oh my God, that's wild.
Um, what a
What a
thing. Anyway,
time.
so we're tired of talking about no.
I
As
know.
we talk about
Well,
it for like 20 minutes, I was like, well,
it's just
that
this is gonna
time.
go on for way too long. She's gonna be a bachelorette, unfortunately. Like there's just I
Yeah.
see the writing on the wall and
I
that's
feel
it. I
like
think.
I don't know. I just feel like so many like she'll be on a podcast run. Like after she did
True.
call her daddy, she'll be on like the podcast loop that they all go on. And I'm just like,
True.
I thought
Do you
you were
think Matt's gonna
grieving
go
because
on
this was like
anything?
I
Yeah.
feel like he'll do one. He'll do like
I
the
kind of
Nick
do
Viall
too.
podcast or something, but I don't know
He's
how.
not going on a tour.
No, no, no. He'll
I
just do
don't
like
think so either.
one and be like,
And
now
cryptic Instagram
I have to
posts.
I have to say my thoughts. And I'm like, not everything has to be shared publicly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. Because there's definitely going to be at least one thing. And it may not be
yeah.
anytime soon, but 6 months, a
Yeah.
year down the line, I wouldn't be
He'll
surprised.
he'll come out and say
Yeah.
something. But
Mm, mm, mm,
just
mm.
so
Wild.
wild.
Well, the next thing on my list is semi-related, but not. And I can't believe we made it this far into this podcast without even talking about it yet. Um,
Okay.
I want to complain about Adia being offline this week. And this is not meant to shade Adia because I know she'll be listening to this episode. It is
Yeah.
because I miss you there. It is because like, I don't know what she's doing this week. I don't know. I'm sending her TikToks via text, like not the link. I'm
Yeah.
downloading the videos and
No,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
sending them to
yeah.
her. Like I'm taking screenshots of photos and sending them to her from Instagram. Like she said it, like it's like I'm a drug dealer coming to her home. Like I
You really are. You're like, okay, I know you're offline, but here's a TikTok, here's a tweet, here's
it's
here's
like I
Instagram.
need
Like,
you to see these things. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
the Norfolk Admirals lost our star goalie. He got pulled up to the AHL, and it's like, girl, I need you to know this.
Literally. Oh my
Like, this is
gosh.
not like this is not. And yes, you could check the ECHL app, but like I'm not doing that daily because there's not transactions like this happening daily necessarily. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
season, whatever. So there's just like a lot happening, and it's not my fault that my feed realized that we lost our streak on TikTok and now they want to send me videos that they know she's gonna like. So like now I'm stuck
Like, hello,
with
we're
all these
back. Yeah.
videos that I know she's gonna like. It's just
Yeah.
it's not giving. And I totally respect, the offline thing, but I miss you there, girl.
Yeah.
That's that. I don't know if you have anything to say. I wrote it. That was the first thing I wrote down. I was like, I
That's so
need
funny.
her, even just like to check, you know, once every 6 hours or something. Like, I don't need her like on
Once every
mine.
6 hours is crazy. That's still like once a day you
Like,
could have said. You said, "No,
yeah,
I need once every 6 hours."
okay, maybe once a day. Like, it just, completely off is like not
Yeah.
giving for me. Like, and again, I respect it, but even just like a little like daily, like a little newspaper situation. Like, here's the
Yeah.
TikToks I sent you. Log back off after 15 minutes. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
so
like I get it because I was like the
yeah.
past few weeks have been crazy on socials,
I
but
mean,
it's
you
like
really have to log off.
but also I'm
Yeah.
like I love social media, but I'm like I have self-control. So I'm like I can like if this is not like good for
Hmm.
me, I'm like okay, I can log off. Like what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But I also understand just wanting the whole break and just
Yeah.
social media cleanse. I get it.
I thought about it, but then I realized this today when I was like getting texts about things happening in the world that I didn't really want to
Mhm.
know about. And it's like
Mhm.
at this point, the only way out is through for everything. So it's the
Yeah.
same on my feed. It's like, that first week on TikTok was brutal. I was definitely like in a doom loop. And it's
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
everybody was like, there was so much
Yeah.
happening and you're like seeing it. And now it's like I'm
Mhm.
starting to get to things that like are not. And so I can
Mhm.
separate and
Yeah. Like
really,
my
yeah, the
feed is
only way
back to
out is
like
through.
fun ASMR videos, like soccer
Yeah.
videos, like K-poppy videos. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah. Because
okay
it's
now. Like
like,
and then
I want to
then I
be,
see the
yeah,
doom, but
exactly. I want to be informed, but like at one point, I was in the same
mhm.
place she was, where it's like,
Yeah.
she didn't say this, but we talked a little bit before the episode last week, and it's like, it was everything. Like
Yeah, yeah,
every time I
yeah, for
opened
sure.
any app, it was
Yeah, it was just
everything was
da da da.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, things are, I mean, they're not calming down, but like, feeds are leveling out
Feeds are
and
calming down, but
yeah, yeah. And it's and no, for feeds and for life, the only way out is through. So it's
mhm.
like
Honestly,
at this
yeah, you
point,
just have to do
yeah,
it. Have to get through it.
yeah, just gotta
I would
cut the
like
noise.
to, yeah, I would like to bring our complaining to something more general, but is connected with that
Mm,
is how social media has taken a turn for the worse. And
yeah.
like, it's just so depressing because like what used to be a happy, fun, share random things with your friends like moment
Hmm.
is now just like so diluted with like
Yeah.
crazy, just crazy things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I now have to like specifically tailor certain feeds for
Yes.
certain things because I'm like, if I don't, then it'll just be a mass like bombarding of just like awfulness. And like the people who have bought like Twitter and
Hmm.
TikTok and like all these things, like it's like, can you stop? Can you please
Yeah.
stop? And I know you're like you're silencing some things. Like I haven't seen like a pro Palestine like TikTok in ages, and I know that's because since the
Yeah.
US has been like taking over TikTok, it's like just it's been so hush hush on like certain things, and I'm like, what are we doing? And then I saw like people were talking about how like so many like places in other countries were like marching for
Protesting.
us and like
Hmm.
protesting for the US and like, you know, all that. And I'm like, we didn't see that. Like, I had to
Hmm.
have someone like some random person, no hashtags, no nothing, be like, did you
Yeah.
guys know this? Like, did you see this? And then I like Googled it and I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. But like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? Like,
Yeah. I would
it's so
love to.
depressing because I love social media and I love being online, but like, I hate everything that's coming out of it.
Well,
So
yeah.
it's
I
just
mean,
like,
it's like you said, it all started in good fun, right? Like
mm-hmm.
at one point, Facebook was connecting with your friends. Granted, it did start as
Yeah,
like a hot or not website at Harvard, and that's fine.
obviously.
But that is still in nature
Yeah.
social, right? I mean, it's still like
Mhm.
connecting with people. And Twitter was very similar. You had communities and you had,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Do
made
the quick like
friends
yeah thing, the
and
quick
then
tweets, and then Instagram was just
Instagram,
like
you're following
showing
your friends.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like how quickly it diluted not just to like like news, but like
Mhm.
to being like a money source,
Yeah,
like
just, like, all the
because
ads. I
the
was just about to
ads.
say, I was
Yeah.
like, there are some days where I'm, like, scrolling through, I was like, "These aren't people I
Mhm.
follow," or even, like,
Yeah,
topics that I, like, look up on Instagram or whatever. I'm like, "What is like,
exactly.
why am I getting your,
I will say
ads for whatever?" Like
Instagram is the worst offender for the ads because it's
yeah.
like I can't even scroll through my feed and see anybody I know. I had a friend
Yes.
who posted, this was a couple weeks ago now, but she posted a photo. I saw it on Facebook actually. I'm not on
Mhm.
Facebook now, but I saw it on Facebook and I liked it, but I didn't realize it was connected to her Instagram. So like I knew she had posted this on, I think it was like a Sunday. So
Mhm.
I'm just scrolling on Instagram literally Thursday afternoon. It comes on my feed on Instagram for the first time. So I'm like, I guess I'll like it because like I mean she's a pretty close
Mhm.
friend and
Mhm.
she's on my close friends list. So it's like I mean 5 days later I'm seeing a post for one of my
It's
actual
so insane.
friends that I'm
Yeah.
interested in and like
I, like,
everything else is
always
like
make
suggested to
sure
me or ads and it's like
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
when's the
yeah.
last time I bought something from an Instagram ad? Like truly when's the last time? You know what I mean? Probably
I
well I
can't think
have
of
done it.
any
I will
time.
be honest, but it's been a while.
That's
It's
fair. The
not like
TikToks
I'm
ads
not
are the
like
ones that get me, not the not the Insta
yeah.
ads.
But well, I
Um,
think I bought like a I bought like my dad's like really into Snoopy and like a
oh,
Snoopy cooler
yeah.
came on my feed. So like,
Yes, and you were like,
you know,
"Have to,"
for
obviously.
Father's Day. So it's been at
Yeah.
least almost a year, but you know, it's like so they know I clicked on one or two things, but
Mhm.
it's not like
Mhm.
the number of ads I'm getting is not correlating with the amount of products I'm buying on Instagram. It's not like I got more because I'm
Exactly.
buying more. It's like I'm
Yeah.
getting more
I
for no
bought one and you're
reason.
sending me, like,
Yeah.
50 ads. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I always make sure to, like, go to the top left corner, click, like,
Mm.
following, and then I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, all these people that I haven't
Ugh.
seen their, like, things for, and I'm like, "I shouldn't have to do
You know,
this." My feed should just
well,
be
that's the
people that
thing.
I follow, and then, like, maybe some things like, if you wanna do a suggested post for me, like, fine, but, like, it should
Mhm.
be mostly people I follow. But
Well,
I'm
that's
just
the
like,
thing. I don't wanna have to click on I've never done it because it takes like, it's so stupid that I and you
it
can't
is
even
stupid, but
you
I
can't
just
keep
got
that as a
so tired of
setting.
it.
Like, if
Exactly.
I did that and every time I opened the app, it said following, I'd be more inclined to have done it, but it's like, I have to do
Exactly.
it
No,
every
you have
time
to
I
click
open the
every
app,
single
it's
time.
crazy. Yeah,
Not even every time you
it's
open the app, every
crazy.
time you, like, are on the home page. Because if you go to your
Oh,
page, if you go
okay.
to someone else's,
Right.
like, you it
Right, and
changes
then come
back,
back.
and then you have to
See, that's
click following
crazy.
again, and I'm just like, "What
Yeah.
are we talking about?" Like
Yeah.
and it's just so frustrating because I'm like, again, I love social media, and I love to
Yeah.
just post a pic, send out a tweet, post a ticket,
Mhm.
like, do whatever and just have a silly, goofy moment, but, like,
Mhm.
social media becoming so, like, just, you know?
Inundated with
Yeah,
nothing.
exactly, with
Yeah.
everything and nothing.
And I will say, I went through my following recently, like who I was following, because
Mm,
I again with the feed, I'm like, I feel like I'm seeing things I'm not interested in, so I'm not inclined to click on the app. Like I wasn't before, and I'm still not. But so I clicked on like my following, and it's interesting because they do, you know, and profiles you haven't interacted with in a while. So I clicked on that, and it's like, okay, I'll unfollow some of those people. There are
mhm,
people in there that I'm interested in, but I've never seen a post from them. But sure, I've at least interacted with
yeah,
them.
mhm,
And then I went to one of them is profiles that are shown in your feed most often. There are 50 profiles there that they have
mhm.
designated as profiles that they're going to show me. And every single one of them is either a celebrity or like a
Yes,
company,
same,
every single one. And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
okay, but you know, because they know who my friends are. Let's throw that out there
yeah,
because
yeah,
my stories, the same five people show up. You, Scott, Adia. Like when you post something, you're the first
mhm,
people I see on stories. So
mhm,
they
same,
know that
yeah,
you guys are my friends. You know, they know we're close friends. You're on my close friends list. Like so how come none of you are on my most shown in feed?
most
Not
yeah, yeah,
one of my actual friends is in my most
ex
shown in feed. It's crazy.
exactly,
Like, and you
and, like,
guys know.
I'm like, I don't post often, but Adee and
Right.
Scott do, so it's like,
Yeah.
why are
Yeah,
they
Adia and Scott
not
do.
showing what well, they
No,
did, but, like,
literally.
why are they
Yeah.
not showing up on your feed
Yeah,
when it's like,
exactly.
"Hello, those are the people."
It's fucked up. That's what it is.
It
And then
really is, and it's
and
so
it's like I can
upsetting.
see it. Like it's right in front of my face. I'm looking at my
Yeah.
most interacted and y'all know my close friends. You like you know
Mhm.
whose stories
Yeah,
I'm liking, you know which posts I'm
exactly.
liking. I mean,
Exactly.
you it's fucking crazy that
It
it's like
really is,
so
and it's
Instagram's the worst offender because at least TikTok's still got
it
a good
is.
algorithm. You know,
Yeah,
they'll show me
and
my
you can find your
friends.
way. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they have that, like, button at the bottom where it's,
The
like,
friends
your
tab.
friend, so I can, like, click
Yeah.
that and be like, "Okay."
Exactly. So it's like there's things
But
going on some I mean, it's it's still not looking great there because every ad I
no.
started blocking certain creators because I was like, I kept getting like bra ads, and I'm like, I've literally the only thing I've bought from
Raw
TikTok
ads.
Shop is like a hair clip, the book hair clip I got you and Tina for
Oh,
Christmas. It's like that's the one thing I bought. We
shout out
love.
Katie right here. First of all,
It's
I
like,
just because my mom had to send it to me because I had
oh,
just too
that's so
many
funny.
things.
You know,
So here it is, this cute, adorable book clip.
my little TikTok purchase, and it's like now
I
I'm
love
getting
it.
fucking bra like ads. I started
Yeah.
blocking creators because I was like, I don't even want to see this video on
Honestly,
my feed.
exactly. Like, I just wanted to go back to a silly, goofy, fun time in like
Live my best life.
2013, like when I
You know,
had
that's the
fun.
tea. That's the tea. Twitter
When I
really
had
was in its
fun.
prime from 2013 to like
So
2015
good.
probably. We were
So
in the good
good.
who knew you were in the good old days when you were in
Not
them, you
us,
know?
but then like everybody on TikTok now or Twitter now who's like a Gen Z is like, oh, don't I wish I could be on like social media back in this time? And I was like, I was, and you're right,
And it
it
was
was
good.
amazing. Like it was
Yeah.
so fun.
It's everything you thought it was and more.
It
Like
really is. Like not a care in the world, just freedom. And
no.
no one was like talking about aesthetic and no one was talking about
No.
like add this or, follow me on this, that, the other. And I'm just like, it was just a good time. But here we are.
It was. It really was. Ugh, what a time. Let's
Traumatizing.
see. Oh, this also goes into that actually. Something I wanted to complain about this week is the people who are fear mongering online. I'm
Okay.
over
Yeah.
it. We already just
Yeah.
talked a little bit about like the only way out is through, but it's like
Mhm.
I wish so I don't know if you've seen I don't know why I'm getting the craziest ads. I've been getting
They know you're like this close to being off social media in general. And they're like, wait, 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 wait.
they're like, you need this.
You need this.
So there's I feel like you have to have seen at least one of these videos. It's the Navy SEALs like guide for like if martial law is declared or whatever, like the book. Have you seen it,
The way
Erin?
I have not seen that. No.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Okay,
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to send you one because or maybe I'll like save it so you don't get the ad in the future.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know how I got here, but like every single one like impacts my fight or flight. Like it
Oh
comes
my
on my feed. They all use the same sound and the same tactic
Yeah.
to try to sell this survival
Yeah.
book. Like they'll ask a question, and the most common one is like, "What to do if martial law is declared?" And they'll be like doing something, and they're like, "Oh, the book has that," and they'll like open the book and point to the page,
The
and
book
it's
has that.
no,
That's
it's crazy.
crazy.
And it's the same. There's like they use a song in the background. And so it truly like triggers my fight or flight. And it's I wish I could block them doing it, but it's different people every time. So like these
You
TikTok
can't
creators,
just
it's not
block the song.
no, because when I was thinking I might try
Mm.
doing that. But because the bra people they were all the same creator. So that's gone
Yeah.
now. Like I don't see those anymore
Yeah.
because they are like I blocked her, it's over. But these it's different creators every time. So if
That's
I
so
block the one,
crazy.
I'm still gonna get another one. And they're
Hmm.
they're, they're low-key scary ads because I'm like, okay, but what would I do? Like what you know what I mean? It's
I
like
I literally would just be I would stay in my
yeah,
house all
and
day. I would not
it was
like what would I
like
do?
I wish I could remember some of the other ones. Like they're just random, like what to do if they shut off the power in America. It's like, okay, that's kind of a crazy question. Like it's but
Well,
it's not so out of the realm of like like because Canada talked about cutting off our power. So it's
I
like
mean the South Korean
not
president or like
yeah.
ex-president just denounced
Yeah.
martial
So you
law.
see what
Like
I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like the
it's
ads are
not
kind
out
of
of the norm.
effective. Yeah. Yeah.
Not out of the norm.
The ads are giving what they need to give and it's scaring me and that's what
Oh
they
my God,
want,
yeah.
but like
Yeah.
it's scaring me
And they
for the
need you
wrong
to buy that
reasons,
book.
but like the book's not going to save me from being scared still, you know what I mean?
It'll
Like so
just give
even
you
if
some
I do what you
ideas of like
want,
what to do.
I guess. So it's like and then it's that with all the news it makes it
Yeah.
feel like you guys are just saying some of this stuff just to scare me and I have to
Yeah.
overlook it because I can't live in a world like
Yeah.
I a couple days ago I had this like crazy panic attack because I'm like afraid to leave my house. Like
Yeah. That's
I
so
was like
valid.
spiraling about going to Japan because I'm like I am whatever. I can't leave my house and I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks and it's gonna be so whatever. Anyway, so but that's what this is all doing. Like it's all just fear mongering. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
at this point, and I have to keep telling myself this, at this point, my day-to-day life has not been impacted. I things will come down the pipeline that will impact like that's the
Hmm.
problem with all this. But it's not like overnight, like we have power. You know what I mean? Like I have to like
Yeah.
I'm still able to walk to the library and go to the grocery store and afford groceries at this point and
Keywords at this point.
like
Yeah.
the fear mongering, like I understand I need to be prepared, but like I can't keep living
Yeah.
in a world where
Yeah.
like you're scaring me like this
Yes.
24/7. I need to be able to leave my
Agreed.
home and not be afraid to leave my house, like
Yeah.
for no reason, for no reason. Like whatever. Anyway, fear
Mm,
mongering online. Please stop.
yeah.
Even if it's to
Please,
sell your fucking book.
I beg you, please stop. Just have a nice
I'm
ad and be like,
literally
you should
begging.
buy this book.
I'm
And you
literally
don't have to fear
begging.
monger it. Yeah.
I'm begging. Please. I'm losing my
Um,
mind.
this my next thing that I want to complain about might be a short thing. It might be a long thing. I don't know. But it is related to TikToks and like we've been talking about socials. How Book Talk keeps highlighting problematic people. And I stay
Yeah.
seeing all these books of people blow up who are like I don't have a list of like the authors, but I'm
Maybe for the
as
best.
like exactly I'm like a Zionist, a racist, like all this, like all these people who are like not good people and we should not be uplifting their books, but like if they have something or series or like something coming out, like Book Talk just stays like highlighting problematic people and then they like start to like go after or fight like these smaller authors and are like, well, you shouldn't do this, like if you're not da, 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 like you shouldn't be writing about this. And then I'm like, okay, this is the least of our worries right now, like
Yeah.
this person
Right,
writing
right.
about like whatever, like writing a black character and they're not
Yeah.
black, like that's the least of our worries in this
Yeah.
situation. But people are like fighting to the death basically
Yeah.
and like highlighting these actually problematic people and then canceling like others. So I'm just like,
Well, it's funny that you say that because when I sent so there's like the whole Rena Kent discourse going on online
yeah,
generally, probably all the time if we're being honest, because she's got 30 fucking books. Like I'm sure there's always
I thought it
something
was
going on
closer to
for her.
40.
It probably is at this point. Like I
Yeah,
don't know. I haven't
yeah,
looked into it,
just a lot.
but when I sent to the book club group chat like that someone
Mm-hmm.
was coming for her for like not writing about black characters because she is not black, I kind
Mm-hmm.
of I don't know, was on the fence about it because on the flip side of the coin, like if Rena Kent would have said like done it and done it poorly or done it and then people would be mad just like they're mad at Liz Tom 40, right? Like some
I
people are
think so,
mad at
yeah.
her for writing black characters. So it's like there's no winning for book talk basically, I guess. So like Rena Kent
Exactly.
saying like I am not a person of color, like I don't feel comfortable, right? It's like it's kind of a good thing that you recognize that you maybe would fuck that up, but you know
Yeah, but
for
I'm just
some people
like,
that's going to be like an insufficient answer, but then for other
for
creators
sure.
that do it now 50% of the people who read that book are like, well, she did it poorly or whatever. I did see
Yeah.
some people say she did it poorly. I guess I can't speak on that necessarily, but like it was a good book generally,
Yeah.
like outside of the day to day,
It
but
was just
yeah.
like I just see a lot of this discourse online and then I'm like, okay, but like if the person is white, they're not like the world is not only white people. So like you need to have
True,
diversity in
true.
it. So I'm just like
That's
that's
true.
not the thing. If they're saying like if they have a black character and they're making them talk in like they're like,
Well,
oh,
because
like
there's
I love
tons of
fried
those out
chicken,
there.
I love la la
Yeah,
la, like doing
yeah.
stereotypes. I'm like, okay, like that's when we need to be like pointing out, like
True.
you should stop. Like that's when.
I
But if
have
they're just
seen one
like,
or two of
oh,
those, which is
yeah, yeah, yeah,
crazy. Yeah, that's in a
I've seen those
specific
too.
example. It was like a hockey romance or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah,
It's like
exactly. And
this
I
man,
couldn't remember
okay.
the name, but I was like, I
Yeah,
know
I don't
we've
know who
talked
it
about this
was.
before, but I was like, like it's just crazy that like
That still makes it in this
Liz
day and
just
age as like
writing
a
like her,
yeah,
like she didn't even like she didn't do any stereotypes, any nothing.
yeah.
Like she just wrote like and it was based off
A
of her friend.
romance.
So
I
I'm it,
mean,
she wrote a romance and it was also based off of her friend. And I was like, okay, like this is as a black person, I'm not like how dare this white
mad at
person
this
write a black
necessarily.
character? Like
Yeah.
I'm not mad about that. But then like the
On the
person
flip
who
side,
did
there
write the
are, yeah.
stereotypes, I'm like, what are we talking about?
But
But
that's like people say this all the time, and not just about this, but like I've seen it on dark romance too. It's like there are sensitivity writers for things like this. Like if you don't feel comfortable with the way that you're writing something, like there are people who can read it and give you
exactly.
like it's like a part of the editing
Exactly.
process basically. So it's like
Exactly.
the fact, whatever, we know that one girl definitely didn't have a sensitivity reader because
No.
of it, but
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
but
She
I've seen it for
said,
dark
"I'm just
romance
gonna."
too, where like questionable
Yeah.
topics were being discussed and like she ended up removing
Mhm.
some things, I think. But it's like, I mean,
Mhm.
they're there for a reason in the industry. So, whatever.
Exactly. It's just
Yeah,
like I was just like, there are so many things like
like actual bad authors
there are
out there.
actual bad things that like people are doing in their day-to-day life, and like if we can well, we've mostly canceled JK Rowling. So I'm like, it's like if we can
Yeah.
rally around that and like what she said and like what she's done and like blah blah blah, like we can rally around like these other people who are like also
It's
bad
so
people
true.
and who do like things instead of just like going after whoever this, that, and the other. And like, it's like, why are we going after these
I do
people?
wonder though, like at what point is there like a line? Because as we're talking, like more and more authors like come to mind as like people who've been in hot water. And it's
Mm,
like at what point, you know what I mean? It's like
exactly.
at what point is it just there are no authors because they also are, you know what I mean? Or are we just recognizing that
Yeah.
they're bad people and we're like, I don't know. Like there's
Yeah.
definitely
It's
it,
like,
it
do you
depends on the
want to,
crime, I guess, too. I mean,
exactly. It's like, do you want to just ignore and be like, oh, they wrote a good book and I'll just ignore who they are as a person?
right.
Or just like, it's going back to Adia and her musician
you
theory
know, you're
of
so right, actually.
the
We are getting there,
writer
aren't we?
versus the
She's gonna
music.
feel
Like,
vindicated listening to
she
this.
will. And if like, I don't know, because I'm like, some of those things I'm like, but if
But
they are like
but
terrible
some
to
things
certain
you're
types of
not
people and like hatred is just spewing out of them in themselves, like, I
right.
can't support you. Like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
support you.
See, and I feel like
So,
that's the difference because I think about like Savannah said it once in our group chat, like she's not going out of her way to look into these people before she reads a book, right? Like you
yeah,
just pick up a book at the library or on Kindle and you just
exactly.
read it versus, there are some authors that are definitely in hot water and like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
well
yeah.
known throughout the
Mm-hmm.
community. And,
Mm-hmm.
like the perfect example is J.K. Rowling. It's like you cannot go anywhere and not know that that happened. Like you
Exactly.
know
Like,
that
that was
happened.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
there's definitely that aspect too, where it's like for some of these people, you would not even know unless you really looked into it. Like the
mm-hmm.
few people that I'm thinking of, it's like I read their books for 10 years and I had no idea. Like I
Exactly.
just
And like, you were
whatever.
young, like how like the stuff may not have been online and then it comes out. So it's like
True.
after, like,
Oh,
I read the Harry Potter books like back in the day, so I'm
yeah.
not like, but I'm not like picking up them up now, like, and
Yeah. Okay.
still reading them and supporting her, but I'm just like,
Yeah, while we're talking, I just remembered there was one really, really big one that happened recently, and I feel vindicated because I never liked his books to begin with. So let's start
okay,
there. So there's this author. He is really well known. He has a couple books turned shows. I believe
oh,
American Gods was a book that turned show, and Good Omens was a book turned show. His name,
okay.
did I say his name's Neil Gaiman? So
No, you didn't.
okay, that's him. So he wrote tons of, I think they're fantasy technically, or maybe I don't think they're quite sci-fi. Like I read American Gods and I read his other like London Underground, whatever that one
Mm.
was. And I did not like either of
Oh,
them.
he
Like
wrote
American Gods had like
Coraline.
yeah, he wrote tons of stuff. He is like a prolific like sexual
Oh
assaulter
my
and
God,
it's
I'm
like
seeing this now. Like, literally.
multiple people have come out about it and like underage
Oh
and
my
like
gosh,
and
the Coraline.
so
I just like Googled him quickly just to see.
yeah,
Coraline
yeah,
musical canceled after Neil Gaiman's sexual assault allegations.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he's
And
scrubbed
it's
from his
like
agent.
yeah, I just remember like
Wow.
I read two of his books and I was trying to read Good Omens because people love it. People love the show
Mm-hmm.
and whatever. And so I was like
Mm-hmm.
really interested and it just kind of bored me. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel bad saying that. I didn't really give it the biggest chance. I was like maybe 20 pages and like sometimes you start something and you're like, this is not right
Mm.
now. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember the other two books I didn't they were okay. They weren't
Mm.
like I didn't leave them feeling like I don't even remember one of their names. I remember just like it was fine. Like generally
Yeah.
speaking, it was fine. So like when I saw online that this before all this came out that people loved his stuff. I'm like, I don't really get the hype, but sure, like
Mm.
obviously live your truth, like
Yeah, like,
some
I'm not
people don't like the
gonna.
authors I like, that's fine. But when all
Exactly.
this came out, I was like, I never even liked the man. That's like, I
So
never
let's
even
start there. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I
Honestly,
mean, at this point, at the
it's
time, nothing against him. At this point, obviously there's things against him, but it's like
exactly.
for me, the books, I would love if the fantasy books hit better for me. They just didn't, and
Yeah.
it is what
And
it
that's
is.
okay. And now here we are where he's in
And
a
now
load
here
of
we are.
hot
I mean,
water. So
and he's like so canceled that people aren't even giving his books to Goodwill. They're like throwing them out because like they don't want other people
that's
to get into
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like they're
That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's like
That
he's
is
big
crazy.
cancel. And because it came to mind, I was like, I feel like if anybody who reads and watches our podcast listens to this, like that's such a big one that they would know it. And I need people to know
Mm.
I never liked the man. I never
Never
liked
liked
him.
the man. I've never read him either. So, so there we
And you're
go.
not gonna now. You
No, I'm
wouldn't
not
like his
going
stuff anyway. I
to.
didn't even like it. Whatever. And I like fantasy. I
It's give
like,
and take sometimes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see. I feel like
I have one more big one, and then I have a couple other little ones. Like if we don't get to them, we don't get to them.
no, we'll get to them.
Oh,
This
okay.
feels refreshing. This feels
We're not.
refreshing. I love it.
We're a little under an hour. We started at like 8:13ish, so we're
Yeah, so
vibing.
we're
We're
good. We're
vibing.
good. I have one that I want to bring up. It's or did you want to go? Because I know I
You
brought
can
up the
go.
book
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
one. Okay.
yeah,
Um my something I want to complain about is Twitch's wife going on a smear campaign
yeah.
post his like 3 years post his death. And
Hmm.
this has been happening for like she came out with her is it a memoir of hers? And then she like
I
went on
think
the
it
cover of like
was.
People's, and then she was like, I found out he had a like strong drug addiction, and I'm like, okay. And now she's like saying that he was like doing crazy things, like she that happened. People were like, hello, like this man has been dead for like 3 years, like can we stop? And then like a couple months or weeks later, like now she's releasing like he was doing like freaky stuff, and I was like, girl, like let your husband rest in peace. Like it's
No,
like
literally.
it's just so sad because it's like Twitch was known as this like beloved dancer, like
Hmm.
TV personality, just like, and all this stuff just like would make people happy and all this stuff. And that was the legacy that he left. And like her releasing all this stuff, like, is crazy and is like diminishing the legacy that he worked so hard for. And I'm like, yes, like if she needed something to like go to
Well,
a
yeah, like
therapist,
live your truth,
live your
but
truth. But also,
yeah.
I'm just like, why 3 years after? Like, that's
Well,
your husband, the father of your children, like, and you're
yeah.
just going to like go on this whole smear
Well,
campaign, bad
and
mouthing him.
it
Like,
all feels like so cheap too. Like it feels like she's doing it all
yeah,
for a quick buck. Because when the book came
yeah,
out, I remember a lot of flack from like family members being like, "We did not
yeah.
support her writing this," or and it's
No.
like,
Well, and
you
apparently
know,
she like had them all sign NDAs before they attended his funeral and like saying stuff like that. And I was like, girl, what? Like, you're just
yeah.
coming out crazy. And
Well, that's
like,
the thing. And it's like you
and
said,
I
maybe just like
understand like
therapy because it is
that's
kind of, and it's
it's
so
literally just like
long.
go to a therapist.
Like when the
Yeah,
drug stuff came out, that was so crazy and it was so sad. And now, and like
exactly.
things kind of leveled out, and it's
Yeah.
like all of a sudden now you've got 100 more
Now
things you
back
want to
at
tell
it.
us. It's kind of like,
Yeah. And
girl,
it's giving very much like Karen because it's like Twitch is a black man. Like so like you
yeah,
going and like saying all these bad things about like this black man that you were
his
married to
legacy.
who
Yeah,
you like while he was alive you like rode the tails of and like was
yeah,
always like hyping up and was like, yeah, we're like this family of dancers and like la la la, here's me and my black husband. And then now you're like, he was a druggie, he did this, he da da da, like, and you're just like, hello, like it's just so sad to me.
yeah, yeah.
And I just hate like that's going about this because honestly like I wasn't like a massive like Twitch fan. I wasn't like following everything, but
Right. But like you said, like good vibes.
I
Yeah,
do remember the day that like it was announced that he had died, and I was like, that is literally so sad. Like I felt something. I was like, wow, like he was always like a bright light in like whatever interviews he was on, like while he was on the Ellen show, like he was just like a happy guy. And like obviously like people can wear masks and like pretend to be
yeah.
happy and whatever,
Well,
but I'm
especially, I
just
mean,
like
entertainment, but yeah,
absolutely, but I'm like he still like there were so many times where he did, like, help people and, like, bring happiness and light to people. So, like, even if he wasn't happy, like, he was still providing that happiness to people, and, like, I'm like, "Why are you smearing his name like this, honey?"
Yeah, it is kind of she's kind of acting like a bad ex-girlfriend or something. Like you said, I mean, like this you were married to this man, you guys were had a family unit, you had kids together. I mean, don't you
Mhm.
want people to remember him in a good light? Like generally
Exactly.
speaking. So it is
And I
kind of
feel
like
like
out of nowhere.
exactly,
Or
I was
like it
like
is from somewhere, but like
it's
for
from
us
somewhere, but
as
it's, like,
viewers,
just feels, like, out of nowhere, and it kind of, like not that it was the same, like, how they both passed, but it was, like, talking about, like, Vanessa Bryant, like, she has done, I feel like, such a, like,
yeah.
amazing she's just after Kobe's death, like, she was just, like, so amazing and was just, like, speaking out and talking about his legacy and, like, keeping on with his, like, youth foundation and, like, all this stuff and,
Right.
like, was just preserving the memories that he had that people had of him, and so it's just
Mhm.
like, "Girl, you didn't have to do all that. You could've" I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
sad to see, and I'm not saying, like, because I'm like, "That's your truth, girl, like, if you wanna share that, like, go ahead, but also, I wouldn't do it." You know? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
so
thing. Like it's kind of random. Like what
yeah,
whatever. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
mm,
What a time. Let's
honestly, what a
see.
time.
Something I want to complain about,
Yeah,
and this could go like 100 ways probably
I'm
because
ready.
whatever. The part of the reason I'm going to complain is because of what's happening. So, and Erin, okay, I want to complain about. I obviously still watch the H3 podcast, and generally, I'm watching 3 times a week. I really am,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
sad, unfortunately. Like I think the show's funny, and I'm
yeah.
gonna be honest about that. Um, we may be on opposite sides of the table soon because Ethan is dropping a Hassan exposed video today.
Interesting.
I don't personally I don't know if I'm gonna watch it necessarily because like he has he and Hassan have sort of been beefing, I guess, because they
Yeah.
used to do the podcast together. They had like
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was called Leftovers. I never watched
Mhm.
Leftovers.
I think I saw
As a
some clips here and there, but,
yeah,
like
as a fan who watched 3 times a week and at the time of that still existing, I skipped
mhm,
those episodes. I just whatever. Some people liked them together. I just wasn't vibing. And
mhm.
that's fine. You don't have to watch everything that somebody puts out. So that's happening this week. But and I know you're a Hassan girl, so I'm like, "Ugh, this is so anything could happen right now because Hassan's probably
Honestly.
going to react and it's probably going to be out of context and so you're going to see whatever. Anyway, it's not the biggest deal. That's not the problem. The problem is not the Hassan video that's coming. Um, every day online, there is new H3 hate videos that come out and gain so much traction for literally nothing. For literally, like,
Interesting.
again, I'm watching the show all the time and and I mean, it's a comedy podcast. It's either
Mhm,
joke, they do funny segments, they make jokes,
mhm,
they have funny sound bites.
mhm,
So the big one, well, I don't even know if it's big. I can't tell if this is serious or not, but it was on like the H3 Snark. So like I guess it
yeah.
was. And they did the whole like hour segment talking about it
Ooh,
yesterday.
okay.
They last week Ethan made a joke about Markiplier and said like, oh, like he fakes his voice, he's faked his voice from the beginning. And then
Mhm,
like later on he's like, well, I definitely just like have a grudge against him because he muted me on Twitter or whatever. And it's like this was
mhm,
all under the guise of like, haha, like he did
mhm,
actually Ethan, but like who cares? Like it's not Twitter
mhm.
doesn't exist anymore. Like who cares?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, like over the weekend, it turned into like some girl like got 300K views on TikTok just for watching, like putting it up as a green screen and like reacting and being like, I can't believe he said that about Markiplier. Markiplier's the
Yeah.
nicest guy on the internet. Like 300K views. And there's tons of other, it got on H3 Snark, it got on like YouTube drama, Reddit.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm.
and so it's just gaining traction for literally nothing. It's
Interesting.
literally a nothing burger. Like it's
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
like it was a 15-minute like a little
Yeah,
segment joke that they made and now like
yeah.
they're in hot water and there's stuff like this that happens all the time.
Right.
There was I mean there was okay, this is the best one for me. I actually have rewatched these episodes. There was a creator who went on YouTube and did this like expose video about Ethan and said that
Mhm.
he was like pretending to be sick so that way his fans would donate more money to him on like his
Mm.
YouTube lives. And like I'm just like so deep in. I know the lore or whatever. Like for a
Yeah.
whole year, the running gag, like Ethan is sick all the time. The running gag is that he has lupus. Every single symptom he has, like somehow
It
relates
like
back
all
to his
relates. Yeah,
lupus.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And it's like it's a bit. Like
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
a
yeah.
comedy podcast, so like you know what a bit is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, this creator made like this whole hour-long episode or like video talking about how Ethan has been like begging for money on
Oh
live
my
and like
gosh.
and people he pulled out these receipts of like live donors were like putting like $10 in me like for Ethan's lupus, but it's like it's a
It's the
joke.
bit.
He's
It's like a
yeah,
joke. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly. And he's never like send me money for my loop or like whatever. And
Yeah.
so they did a whole like they
Oh
did a
my
whole 4 hour
gosh.
live episode about this
That's
guy and like
crazy.
he like got bullied off the internet. But it's like why
No, he got
can't
bullied off the internet. Quick drop, move on.
but like he's back a little bit, but he had another questionable video come out. But
Yeah.
it's like I mean at what point like he's joking about his own health so like but it's like every little joke that Ethan makes is turning into a hate video and people like that
Mm.
guy got hundreds of thousands of views. Some other
Mm-hmm.
girl while they were on break in December got
Mm-hmm.
hundreds 200,000 views for literally saying nothing. They watched the video on the stream and she just like talked about nothing for a whole hour and it was like
Mm.
how does she have 200K views from this? So I don't know. I'm just over it like only because I love the content that comes out of it. I love watching them live
Yeah.
react. I think it's funny,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it's just like sad because I mean, it's turning into this whole thing where like the crew members on the show get bullied on their Instagram comments. Like
Mm.
they post a photo and they're like, "Well, you work for a Zionist," and it's like he's said 100 times on the podcast that he's pro like free
Right.
Palestine, like,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so it's yes, he is a Jewish person, but like that does
Yeah.
not inherently make someone whatever. Anyway,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
so, the comments are and so all these people get all these crazy out of context clips. Okay. this is this is one that's up and coming as of today. He was responding to the Elon Musk salute that
Oh
happened.
God.
And so he on his own show was like, could it have looked like something else? So he was like, pretending to whatever, and it all looked like a Nazi salute, which is the gag. But so now people are posting on
You're
Twitter
like,
and Reddit
oh
saying
what?
like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're like, look at what Ethan did on his live, and it's like, if you would even watch
Yeah.
30 seconds of the clip, like
Yeah.
he's a Jewish man. This is all like him talking about like how he felt that
Yeah.
this was
Oh
an
my
because you know
gosh.
how Fox News is saying like it's not
Oh, of
actually
course.
that he's giving out his heart, blah blah blah. So like
Okay.
we all know, but so I don't know. I'm just like I feel bad for everybody involved because again, it's good content, but I hope it's not wearing on
Mm-hmm.
anybody because I love the reaction content, but it's sad that
Mm-hmm.
everything that they do gets like because he's not necessarily okay, I feel bad saying this. They are a big podcast. They get a lot of views, but it's not like they're not like Alex Cooper or like Joe Rogan. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like for them to get all this traction for hate videos is kind of
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like it's just
Yeah.
kind of stupid. I don't know. Um, and then I don't want it to impact anybody that works there either because like they're just I mean they have
Honestly,
I'm sure they
yeah.
have a fun time on the show, whatever they laugh and giggle and whatnot. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's hard to get hate comments on your own
For
Instagram for
sure. When you're
literally
just like, I'm
nothing. I
just an
mean,
editor, like I'm just the
yeah,
graphics
you're like,
gal, like
yeah, you're like, I just posted
so
a picture from Christmas, and like, why
yeah,
do I have
like
comments about how
me
like
and
I
my
work for the
dog,
worst
like
person
what
in
are
the
we doing?
world? Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, people
hopefully they're all
online,
doing
the
okay.
for sure. The parasocial of it all is just like so crazy. Like people love to even like I've been watching Hassan's streams and like
Yeah,
even like the people on his streams, he's like, okay, people, like you're getting a little too parasocial, like
yeah,
chatters, like chill, chill, chill. And he just like is like, guys, like you don't know me. Like I'm not gonna like, yes, I do share a lot of my life with you. And he streams for like 8 hours a day, but it's like
right. But
you
that's still
don't know
on.
me, like
Yeah,
chill. So it's just
yeah.
crazy because people love to like hate watch and then people love to like love, parasocial watch. So it's like we'll see what
Well, yeah,
happens.
yeah. But
Maybe I'll
yeah, I
watch
don't
that H3 thing to see what
we'll see.
he's
I don't know if I'm
saying.
gonna watch it because again, I don't necessarily care enough about like I feel bad saying that, but like the drama between them is like just between them. Whenever those segments come on the
It
podcast,
also
I'm
I
skipping
feel
them,
like
unfortunately.
no, literally. I
Like
feel like
I could not care less about your Hassan drama. Like I'm sorry, like I know it's taking up so much space because he's been making this video for like 2 months.
that's
It's gonna
crazy.
be 2 hours long.
Oh
It's
my
probably up
god, no,
as we speak. He's been talking about it
I'm
all day.
gosh, okay.
People are
I
waiting
want to
for
know just
it, but
highlights. I just need someone to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
recap it for me
I'll give you
because
the recap because they'll probably talk about it on the show tomorrow. That's the gag. Like he's gonna post this video and then they're gonna do reaction because there's gonna be people who hate him for it and they're
mm,
gonna hate a
yeah,
lot of the
like
points he made. And so I'm gonna
H3
get a
has their like peeps and then Hassan has his like peeps. So it's like
girl
they're
and the
going
Hassan
like
peeps
they're
on
gonna there's gonna be fights and there's gonna be
yeah.
dramas. I don't
The
even
Hass
know, but
I
I'm just
hate to
like,
say the Hassan fans have been crazy in the H3 Reddit. Like they are
well, it's because
literally, but they're the
it's
crazy
also
ones
it's
who are
like
like really that online too, that care enough to
they're crazy and online, and it's like also it's like I mean, you're not watching Hassan's like streams if you're not a little like
kind of crazy.
like if you're like
Or like
I mean, we're all like so it's like you're just so tired of like the liberal like me the just liberal people. And so you're like you're fully leftist and you're like, "Hello, what are you talking about?" But
well,
can't wait
yeah,
to see
it's gonna be
that.
interesting to say. I know Hassan is gonna like see clips out of context and just say like,
My guy is like fully in Japan like living his best
yeah.
life right
Well, and that's
now
the thing. Like,
and
I
so
mean,
we'll see
there's
what
been
happens.
random like, because I don't know. I feel like Ethan got more involved with this than Hassan. Because like again, but he also streams 8 hours a day, so he's got other stuff going on. His biggest hater, as far as I know, is Destiny. I don't know who that man is, but I hear that they're like in big beef.
Yeah.
I feel like Hassan is Ethan's Destiny a little bit. Like they have like a little thing going on, and it's like Ethan is because it's just like they have whole segments about Hassan, and I'm like, I literally and
That's
then
so
Hassan will like,
crazy.
but then like Ethan will say one thing for 30 seconds that'll get clipped and sent to Hassan, and he'll just watch the 30-second thing, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like who cares?
Yeah, I
Whatever.
mean,
I don't know.
Hassan
It's
is
so
not like
diluted.
he's
Yeah.
not like looking out for these things unless it's like on CNN,
Right.
on like Fox
Exactly.
News, on
Exactly.
something like he's looking at the news sources. He'll be like, okay, like these are like what's happening in the world. And then people, chatters will be like, oh, son, did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? It's
Right. Right. Right.
talking
Right.
about you. And you're
Exactly.
like, bro, chill. But like,
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
basically what's
what else are you
happening.
going to be
So,
talking about for 8 hours a
well,
day?
that's the gag. It's
Every
like
single day. So
you
it's
might as
like,
well watch the whole segment
might as
because you
well have
got
a little
like
beef and then like just
yeah.
talk about it
Well,
some. So
that's the thing.
funny.
I'm a little surprised he doesn't watch more of it because I mean, the news like if he's watching CNN and stuff, it's like that news is going to be the same until something new happens, right? Like so
Yeah.
like
It's
but
also
I don't know.
like, well, he like watches a clip and then he'll like it'll be a 3 minute clip and he'll be
Yeah.
sat there for 35 minutes. And, like
Yeah, Ethan does the same
pause,
thing.
talk, pause, talk. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, people, hello, can
Yeah.
we move on? But and
Yeah.
then he's
But yeah.
like, here's my dog. Gotta go get
Yeah.
my food
She's
from the
cute. I
door.
remember seeing
Anyway.
her, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Kelly's precious.
I don't know.
Um,
I feel like I should not be like I don't know. It's I shouldn't be worried about saying that I like a certain podcast or not, but it is kind of crazy. Like
yeah,
there are people who would crucify me for this take for still watching
literally,
and it's just like,
literally.
it's like
It's
the Candace Owens thing.
crazy.
No, I'm kidding. He's
Bring
not like
back my
Candace
fave
Owens.
girl.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like that at all because he's not actually an right alt like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever. I kid. They're
That
not the same at
is
all,
so
but
funny.
it's like anybody's
That
favorite creator, I guess though. Like
yeah.
nobody's the perfect anything for
hmm
whatever.
hmm Well, I can't wait to see those
Ugh.
clips and see
You
vibes.
know you'll at least see a clip or two from the sounds of it.
I for something, I'll tune into his stream tomorrow and because I haven't for
To
the past couple
Hassan's.
days. Yeah, to Hassan's
Yeah.
stream to see if he says something. But
I it'll be interesting. I think his people are going to be more interested than he will be, which is fine.
for
Like
sure, Hassan is just like honestly like he gets heated about like certain things, but then like when people are like, "Oh, dude, this guy's talking about you," this and that, he's just like, "Okay, like
yeah.
let's
I
watch
mean,
it. Let's here's my react." Oh, and then he's gone. I'm
sometimes
just like, okay,
it is kind of like you're just coworkers a little bit. Like you're both just in the online sphere. So like yeah, they said
exactly,
something about me, but like we're just coworkers.
exactly. Like it's just like Hassan is like a big left stream, so it's like
Yeah.
obviously someone's gonna mention
Someone's
him
going to
if
have something to say.
someone's
Yeah.
gonna say something. Oh, the next thing I would like to complain about, I have a big fucking problem with.
Oh,
Okay?
no.
Like this
Oh.
is and it'll just be me ranting at you
I
because
mean, that's
I know
just what
you're not
happened with H3. So,
exactly and that's exciting. And I'm like, I know you have no stake in this game. Like you don't know what like you know generally what I'm talking about, but you don't know like the specifics and I'm just like so upset
oh,
because of a man named Daniel Levy. And Daniel Levy is the owner of the Tottenham Hotspurs. So this
okay.
is soccer related,
Was,
people.
I had a feeling it was
Yeah.
Hotspurs related because
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
unsent a tweet earlier and I'm like,
Well, I
anyway,
accidentally sent you like a tweet
yeah,
and I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
no,
The wrong one.
I meant to copy
Yeah.
this one. Anyway. So Daniel Levy, he's the owner of the Tottenham Hotspurs, and everybody knows that the Tottenham Hotspurs are my team. Sadly,
they're doing so poorly in the Premier League. So they're
I
in
have heard
England.
this
They're,
actually. My blue
yeah,
sky's been
probably from
filled with
me.
Tottenham Hotspurs fans that hate them right now.
Okay. So it's like they've been doing so poorly, but it's not because they're playing poorly. It's because they, like, half of their team and like their first team has been injured. So it's
I have
like
heard
they
this.
don't have players to put on the thing. Like the other
Yeah.
day, they had
Because their
10.
backup goalie played for the first time ever, right? Like that was him,
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the first of all, I'll get to that, but it was like it wasn't even their backup goalie. Like it was a goalie they had literally
Oh, just
just
traded.
signed.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
they had
Or yeah.
their third tier goalie played for the first time, and then they just bought another goalie, and he played for the first time. So Dan Levy, the owner is in charge of like, all things going on, but mainly he's in charge of going out, finding players for you to buy. And that's a main job of yours. So like in the summer, like he's doing that. And then they have a transfer window in January. So
Yeah.
like in January December news starts bubbling up. And then like all these teams are like, oh, like I'm talking to so-and-so to see if they want to transfer. I'm talking to so-and-so. And so it's like that, like January is the time, and then like January 31st at 11:59 p.m. like that's
Yeah.
done. We move on with the rest of the season. Dan Levy has purchased like one single person. No, he's purchased two people. The
The way
goalie,
like the wording, it sounds so crazy. He's purchased
it's
one
crazy, but
person.
like he purchased one person. The goalie. So he's like, you see that we have this like problem with all of our like first team players being injured, like these people who play midfield or like whatever, they're having to go like play center backs and like defense basically. And like there's this like there are two 18-year-olds on our field who just like play any like position and not the position that they like are known for and like best at. And then it's just so crazy. Anyway, so Dan Levy has like bought like two or so people, and then he stopped. And we're like, hello, you have the funds. Like no one is saying like there was a big scandal with Manchester City where they like spent too much money, like all this stuff. Like that's not happening with Tottenham. Like Tottenham has the money that they can go out and find players who can like transfer to our team and like play for and like assist the team. But Dan Levy
Is
is not
there
doing that.
is there a limit to how many people they could have on the roster? Or like I'm curious, but I
Um,
guess if they're on
there's
injured
not a
reserve or something, I mean
I
that's
guess
separate
there's not a
probably.
limit. I think it's just like the amount of money you spend in a
Okay, okay.
transfer seat like time.
Because
And
that's
so
if they could only have like 20 people, it's like, well, we're not gonna
yeah,
get
yeah,
rid of our
no,
injured, but
they
like, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
okay,
It's
I
not
see.
like that because it's
Yeah.
anyway.
I
So
mean, I'm sure there's tons of things that get taken in
there's for sure like
consideration
other
generally.
things, but like
Yeah.
here it is. So now, but like since Levy hasn't been doing that, like it now just falls to the manager, Ange Postacoglu, who is like basically the coach, or he is the coach, the manager. He is having to like deal with all these dramas, and he's like basically the face of all these
Well, yeah,
dramas
because if they
because
do like the what's it called, the press or whatever, it's like he's
yeah, it's
after
him
games,
who's
he's the
doing it.
one. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so he's just been dealt this like poor, deck of cards. And it's like he is the one having to be like, yep, like so and so's injured again, so and so's injured again. And so it looks like he doesn't know how to manage a team, but it's
He's got
funny.
nothing
The
to work
gag is
with.
he's like, I'm working with what the ownership is giving me.
Yeah.
And he like so many players have like during like interviews, like post game interviews or whatever, and they're like, yeah, well, like we stand behind Ange, like he's a great, coach, la la la, like all this stuff, like it's really the higher ups, like, and a couple of the like the first team players, like star players of Tottenham, have said this, and so it's like we know it's not Ange, but like so many people are like, oh, well, you need to
It's
get a new manager, you
hard.
need to get a new
Yeah.
manager, but then it's like there was the Tottenham Hotspurs like fan club. They like made a sign the other week that said it was like 24 years, 16 managers, one trophy, time for change. Like because they have not like
Interesting.
they are a top like Premier League team, and they have like the makings, like they had arguably one of the best like goal scorers on their team for years before he moved to a different club. But it was like, you guys, he won the Golden Boot, like he's winning things. So it's like, we know he has a talent, but you didn't like build a team around him, or you didn't like
Yeah.
do this. And that's like the owner who needs to like go out and like purchase like players and like all this stuff. So it's like, he is just doing all this and not like, and just you see him, they're like, and this is, they'll like pan up to him like, because he's in the owner's box, and they're like, and here's the man all the Tottenham Hotspurs fans hate, Daniel Levy. And they're like,
Man.
and it's just like so crazy, because it's like, he needs to either like, Dan Levy needs to like quit, or they're just gonna like get a new manager. And like, Ange Postecoglou is like like, he's such a great guy, he's like such a good manager. Like, when they had like, last year was his first year with the team, and they like were in 5th place, and that's how they finished. And so they were in like Europa League, and so they didn't have those injured players. Like, they had like, you can see what he can do. And like, if he was just given the resources, like, he would be able to like keep moving up and keep going. But like, he can't do that because they're not giving it to him. So he's having to work with what he has. And so that's why, like, it was, there was a tweet I saw that said like, the injured players bench is basically our starting lineup. And like, we have to, like, we're having to use like the CD team, like not even the B team, like the CD team, like, and we're having to bring like all these like kids who are like 17, 18, 19 years old, who have like never played like in the Premier League, and like, and they like have to play 90-minute games, like running back and forth like every 3 to 4 days, because since we were in 5th place last year, like, we're not just in the Premier League, we're in Europa League, which is another like kind of competition that they do. So they're playing, like, I watched a game today that was for Europa League, and then on Sunday they're gonna have to like play a Premier League game, and then like same thing. So they don't get any rest. And usually if we had the big bench, we would be able to like
maybe even
sit
players
players
during the
out,
game.
exactly. But like, there were some times where like our 2 sweet little 18-year-olds, one's named Archie, one's named Lucas, and they like literally collapsed at the end of the 90 minutes because they were so exhausted, because there's nobody who could play like the back line, because they were all injured. And so they had to do it. And they're like, obviously, like, these guys can play 90-minute plus, like, but like, after doing that for so long, and like,
at like
it wears on you.
100%.
Exactly. And like, playing against these like top tier teams, like, it wears on you. So it's just like so frustrating, because we can't do anything about it. And then we just see like all these like depressing things. And so like, in the Premier League right now, like, we may like, not the most goals, but like, Tottenham is part of the top like 4 teams with the most goals scored during games, but we're number 15th in the league out of 20. And when you get to 18, 19, 20, like that place, like, you're in the relegation zone. And if you get relegated, you are kicked out of the Premier League for the next year, and then you have to like fight for your way back like into the Premier League. And that would be insane, because Tottenham Hotspur is such a massive club, like one of the biggest clubs in London, and yet we're 15th and like maybe in the relegation zone. Like, what are we talking about? Like, that's insane.
It's kind of crazy that like the manager, or not the manager, because
the owner,
the owner is like not doing anything, because this is like similar to what happened to the Saints, where like they lost 8 games in a row. The injury list was piling up. I mean, granted, the trade situation was way different, but at the time, the fans weren't calling for trades, they were calling for Derek Carr to be fired. And it's like, eventually, finally they did, but like, people were threatening to not go to the games, and it's like, that's how it's bad. If no one's showing up at home, like, that's so it's interesting.
It would be
that,
crazy.
like, there is like a level of like, you do have to balance what the fans want a little bit. So it's interesting that he's just like blinders on,
he's
like,
just
does not care.
And I saw
they low-key pay you, sir, like, for, I mean,
literally,
merch,
like,
tickets, food, ticket sales, everything. I mean,
and I saw, like, I was looking at like the Spurs like Instagram account, and like every single comment on the newest post, Levy out, hashtag Levy out, hashtag Levy out, hashtag Levy out. And I was like, so maybe they'll get some, like, maybe they'll see something. But
if nothing else, like, more players, like, that's the tea,
just
like,
more players. But like, you have a day, because the transfer window ends tomorrow. So I'm like,
there better be 15 new people on this team by tomorrow.
What's going to change? What is going to change? And it's like,
That's crazy. That's
It's just,
crazy.
it's so annoying because you're like, I know what the problem is. The
Yeah,
problem is the owner.
right. You're
We
looking
all
at
know
it.
what the
Yeah.
problem is, but he is like, he would have to be crazy to just be like, you know what, I'll leave.
Well, that's the thing. Like he's
He's just
in the high.
selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would he?
Why
It's
would
probably still
he?
he's still making money, I'm sure. It may not,
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
making
That's
he is making the big bucks
crazy.
sitting nice and comfy in the owner's suite. So like anyway,
What a mess.
that's that on that. Like that I literally
Man.
was just like, and it's just been so frustrating because like the injuries started like last year or like last fall, and so you were like, okay, like in January we'll get some
We'll
like
have
new
some,
players. We'll like
yeah.
get some people up. No. They're just playing me. And
So
it's just like
sad.
it's just hard being a
It's tough. Injury
it
management
like
is such like a
exactly.
crazy, it's all about balance. But then it's like when
Yeah.
you have literally 15 people injured, what do you do? I
Exactly.
mean, like you don't, there's nothing to work
Exactly.
with. I mean,
Exactly.
there's
It was
the players you
also
have,
crazy.
but like when they're running 90 minutes a game, it's like that's
Exactly. And
not right either.
they every post-game interview, you see them looking defeated. Look, they're like, yeah, well, what else can we do? Like these like literally like Sunny is like we just have to keep going. Like we have the kids
Yeah.
are doing great because they're literally kids. Like
Right,
the kids are doing great
literally.
because they're children.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what we have to do.
Man.
That's what we have to go with. But it's just so crazy. One thing I will bring up now that it was not it. So Alexa loves Liverpool, and Liverpool is currently #1 in the Premier League, #1 in the
Oh,
Champions League,
brutal.
#1 da, da, da. And so I'm like talking because like they know the soccer woes, and I know like
Well,
every
yeah,
team goes
but they
through
can't
like the
relate
good and
this
bad.
season. Yeah.
Every team goes through the good and bad. Like for the past few seasons, they stay being like top 4 at least.
Mm-hmm.
So like every team goes through like bad times, but just them being like, well, it's, you know, I remember when I'm like, my team is going through it now. And it's
Yeah.
not because we're bad players. It's because
Just bad
we were
management.
all injured and bad
Yeah.
ownership. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's brutal.
It's just funny.
Brutal.
And they were like, oh, like Liverpool lost the other day, but they're still #1 in the Champions League, and so they don't have to go through like the round of 16. And they were like, oh, I couldn't even watch the game. Them winning 3-2 or them losing 3-2, embarrassing. I was like, I need you to stop.
Chill.
When you see me struggling like this. No, it was funny.
I feel that. I feel that because I'm like a real. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying I love talking like European soccer with them because I'm just like, you get it. But also, I don't want to hear it. I just want to complain. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's real. I'm like an official Dallas Stars fan now. So like they lost the other day and I was like, I can't watch this game. Well, no, they won. They've won a couple games. We'll get into that because loves, but
yeah.
Shall we move on to some loves just to end on like a little bit of a high note?
Just a little, like yeah. Honestly, I have a lot of loves that we could just fly through. Like,
okay.
I was like, okay. One, I know I just complained about the Tottenham Hotspurs for 10 minutes, but that was the ownership. That was not the actual players. Like, I love them and I will like support them till I D word. They won today 3-0, and I was like,
shut out. Okay.
Like we literally needed this. Like the morale was so low because like it's like 8 out of the last like 10 games in the Premier League they've lost, and then like the other 2 were ties, and then like oh, it was just a mess. But like Europa League, like we're coming for you, baby. And so we ended like in 4th place there, so we don't have to like do a round of 16 shootout. Like we just move on to the next round. So love that. My second love, I bought this cute little astronaut galaxy projector, and it's like giving me the vibes that I needed, because I needed like on one half of my room it's very dark because I have like the overhead lamp, but I turn that off like when it gets to, you know, evening time, and then I have my small lamp on my desk, but it's just like the other half is so dark. And so I now have this like galaxy projector that like puts the nebula and like stars on my ceiling, and I'm like, this is a vibe. And shout out my cousin Sebastian, because he got it for my nephew for Christmas, but then I saw how it worked and I was like, I need that. And so the next thing, I finally unpacked the last thing in my room after moving. So we have more space, like things are looking right. I just need to put up these curtains because my like closet
one
doesn't have
day.
a door. Exactly. My closet doesn't have a door. So it's just like, it just looks a mess. Like, not that my clothes are like messy.
Right.
It
But
just
it's
like
like
looks a mess.
open. Yeah.
It's just too much. So I'm gonna put curtains there. So I did that. And then my boss gifted me an Amazon gift card for Christmas. And
Love.
so that's what I used to pay for my room improvements. And then the biggest thing that is my love this week is that GOT7, one of my ultimate K-pop groups, had a comeback after 3 years. And
Ooh.
so they were the ones that like left their company, and then people were like, oh, they disbanded. But then they were like, no, like we still are a group. Like JB, who's the leader of GOT7, he like put on his lawyer hat and was like doing all this stuff. So they own the name
Interesting.
GOT7. They own their like
Ooh.
songs, like they own like everything. So he was like, we can like still be GOT7 and do this. So they like came out with a album like a year or so after like that whole them leaving JYP happened, and then like two of them had to enlist in the Korean military, so they got back recently, and then they like all were in Korea and had to come back. And so I've been just like alive and well and blessed, because like I've just been in a K-pop slump. I still listen to like, my EXO boys and just like my GOT7 boys and like things like that, but I'm not like having new info, new content, because I'm just like, none of this is speaking to me. But
Yeah.
Kai comes back in like 10 days, my man. So it's like
Yeah.
my number one K-pop boy comes back in 10 days, basically. And I think I'll be revived then. So like check back with me then. I could be a new person. I don't know. But
We
yeah,
love.
GOT7, their comeback is fantastic. And they like, you can really tell that they want to be together and like be a group and like release music, because they all just like look so happy and like just having the best time like
Yeah.
doing that. So
Oh, I
yeah.
love. And they own their own, well, not their own music probably, but like generally like
They got the
the
rights to it,
entity.
and yeah,
Yeah.
and like they can still perform the songs, like
Oh,
if like the older songs
nice.
if they're having a concert. And like
That's
the big
nice.
thing was the name, because so many
Yeah.
times like those K-pop companies are
Well, yeah,
like,
because they already have the
that's mine.
brand. Yeah.
Exactly, they're like, nope, that's mine. But JB put on his
Love.
lawyer hat and said, mm-mm,
Yeah.
that's me.
Love that. One of my loves this week is I restarted watching Castlevania, and I tried to
Mm,
watch it like a yearish ago, and I stopped around like season two, like mid-season two, because it was getting a little boring. But
mm,
I really felt invigorated because people were talking about it on Blue Sky. Like they have a spin-off,
mm,
Castlevania Nocturne. I guess it's not really a spin-off because there's like 100 games of these whatever entities. So they have a spin-off. It's not really a spin-off. It's still part of the same world, whatever. But so people were talking about Nocturne, and I was like, you know what? Let me get into it again because I liked season one and season two got boring, but like I bet like it got renewed. So like it gets better,
mm-hmm,
obviously, like
mm-hmm,
generally
mm-hmm.
although some people liked it the whole way through. But yeah, by the time season three hit, I was there. I was sad. I was
Okay,
living my
yeah.
best life. So like, and now I'm like back on back on my bullshit. Like I've been reading Anne Rice, but like I'm rereading Silver Under Nightfall, which is basically Castlevania fanfic that
Mm,
got published. Like I'm just
mm-hmm.
like living again. So there's that. Castlevania Nocturne, I'm coming for you. I just finished the
Yeah,
last season of the Abridged. But anyway, and then my other love is okay, so as I mentioned, I'm a Dallas Stars fan now, and I've been watching every game. And
yeah,
when I mean every game, like the Caps also played the other night, and I watched the Dallas Stars instead. Like
yeah.
I'm committed and whatever. Anyway, they have won their like last three games. They played the Vegas Knights at home, and they suck at home. Let's throw that out there. Like they play amazing on the road. They're
That's
living their
so
best
funny.
lives on the road, but at
That's
home
so funny.
things are tight. Things are tight. But they beat the Vegas Golden Knights, and then they went to St. Louis and beat them, and then they went to Vegas, and I was really worried because Vegas they won at home, which was like
Mm-hmm.
amazing, but Jason Robertson had an amazing night. He had like two or three goals or
We
assists.
love
Like he was
Jason.
like he had a few points. So I was like, okay, like we'll see. And they
Mm-hmm.
played at Vegas, and things weren't looking good. This game was crazy, Erin. I stayed up
Yeah.
to one to watch it. Like
I
by
saw,
the end of the
I can't remember where you posted, but I saw you were like, I was up until one watching this. And yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because at the end of the second period, the Stars were down, and
Mm-hmm.
ESPN keeps telling me that up until that day, anytime the Stars were down by the third period, they lost the whole game. Like the third period, it's like over for them. Like basically, there's only
Something
one
about
other
pundits,
team.
they stay giving unnecessary facts and
Yes. Yeah.
stats when I'm
Oh yeah,
already
yeah.
down.
Yeah. You're like, look, the game's still going. Okay.
I get it. Like,
And they were
chill.
like,
Yeah.
they're one of two teams. The only other team is the Vancouver Canucks that are in the same boat, basically. And it's like, we
Yeah.
are low key 50 games in. So, like, embarrassing that. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, they've won a lot of games. So, like, when they're winning, whatever, that doesn't count towards that. But yeah, like you said, the stats. So I'm like, well, damn, now I got to watch this third period. Like,
You
I was
have
ready to
to.
like go to sleep a little bit or whatever. But then
Yeah.
I watched and they tied the game up. Great. Now we're in OT. It's fucking 12:30. Like, it's not
Yeah.
turning off OT at this point.
No,
It's
you
12:30.
can't. That's silly. You've already stayed up.
Exactly. And then God bless Wyatt Johnson in the first 20 seconds of OT. He got his hat trick. He got his third goal of the night and they won. And it was just like, I love that we beat the Golden Knights twice, in once at home, once away in the same week. Like,
Yeah.
Something about the Golden
Kick
Knights
them while they're
like,
down.
rubs me the wrong way. Like, I don't vibe with them.
You're like, you're in a desert. Why are you playing hockey?
And they won Stanley Cup like 2 years ago. So like they're good too. And they're actually above us in the standings. Dallas is 6. Caps are number 1. So see, I'm not worried about them. I don't have to watch their games. They're number 1. They're doing fine. And then the Golden Knights are like number 4 right now. So it's like we beat them twice in 1 week. So just because they're above us does not mean
it means nothing.
It's over. It means nothing.
Yeah.
It means nothing. So I love that. And
I love that too.
It's been a good time. It's definitely been a good time. Yeah.
I love I still like, I know you don't like posting on your story or like posting in general, but I just think it's so funny that you post the like Dallas Stars like score to your close friends list, because I'm like, it's giving, like, I post like if I'm like thirsting over some man, I'm like, oh my god, like here's this or like whatever, like, and if it's a score, I'll just put that on the main, who cares? But you're like, no, this is hidden information, privileged information.
Well, I'm not ready for like the regular people on my main to be like, you're a Stars fan, like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like I did have someone ask me, my close friends, but it's like, that's fine. Like I was expecting response.
I put it out there and you saw it. Like I know you saw it. So
but like I don't, not that I think you and Adia have way more people that watch your stories. I get like only 70 or 80 views on my stories, but it's like those 70 or 80 people, I'm not ready for random people to be like,
oh, on your just main story.
On my main. I'm like, look, I'm not ready for that. I don't even want you to like it. Like, I don't even want you to know anything about me. Like,
that's so
I don't
funny.
Even want you
but
to know
I know, I get it.
Like,
I get it.
So it's not like you said, it's not privileged information, but it kind of is, because like now I have to explain myself because I've never fucking lived in Dallas. So like, what's that about? First of all, like
I've never lived in England, but here I am loving these boys.
God bless.
Like it's just the team that draws you in. Like it just happens.
You're so right. And
so
that's
you shouldn't be ashamed of that. Not that you are, but...
and they're a good team. I mean, they're winning.
Exactly.
Like, they're doing fine.
They're 6.
Imagine I like picked a team that was like really. I mean, I have a San Jose jersey. It's like they're 28 in the league right now.
Yeah.
But you know, it's fine. It's fine. But also,
love.
Forgot to add my Jason Robertson jersey came in.
You'll have to show
it definitely looks like a knockoff, but like I don't care. I will be wearing her. I mean, it was from eBay. So.
Half of my jerseys are like not knockoffs, but like they're definitely. I'm not buying them from the Tottenham site or the like literally national team site. Like, what are we talking?
Yeah, this was definitely a time. That's for sure.
Therapeutic, if you will.
If you will, yeah, I'm like vibing. I'm wired.
I know. I'm like, I need to,
let's keep doing this.
Let's keep going.
Let's rebrand the podcast is like what I want to complain about.
Honestly, and that's what the close friends list is. So it's like, why don't we do that? Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's true. That's true.
But thank you everybody for listening. If you stuck around this long, you're a real one. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media at Close Friends List Pod. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.